Dr. Lang, let me put this question to you. When and where can younger kids who are not in school get the H1N1 vaccine?
That's where the pediatrician's offices and family physicians are coming in. We have been getting weekly shipments from the Department of Health based on the patient population, the size of our patient population in the office. And each pediatric office is delivering this vaccine to their patients in different ways. Some offices are having dedicated flu shot clinics, similar to the school method, where the preschool age children can sign up and come in on a certain day at a certain time. Other offices are involving the children into each workday and allocating for a certain number of children each day in the morning and the afternoon to come in. But the preschool age children are receiving their vaccines in the pediatric offices. If families watching the show aren't sure what their pediatrician or family physician is doing, they can certainly call their physician's office and ask, or if their pediatric office has a website, oftentimes that's been a great way to communicate with many families. They can access their practice's website to see if there's more information there.
We've talked about the shortage of this, but what about those who have had one dose of it but really need the second? And usually they need that within 3 to 4 weeks, if I remember correctly. What about them?
They certainly have not been forgotten. Right now, honestly, we're trying to get vaccine out to as many people as possible in the first dose, and then once that has been done successfully, then we'll start looking at the second doses for everybody.
What happens if they don't get that dose within 3 or 4 weeks' time? Do they then have to, at some point down the road, go back through the whole thing, the double dose again?
No, they don't. And it's important to know there is a significant amount of protection that does come with one dose. Some of the studies that have shown that there are a small proportion of children who still need an additional booster for the second dose, which is why the CDC has recommended that all children 9 years of age and under receive 2 doses of the vaccine, as you've mentioned. But if that's pushed back a few more weeks beyond the 4-week period of time, they are still protected. And I think it's important so that as many people can get vaccinated with at least one vaccine dose as possible is done as quickly as possible.
The second dose, is that scheduled for many of these young people in January?
Yes.
Is that a fair statement?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Another question that has come in. I have a son or daughter that was graduated from high school. When and where can he or she get vaccinated? Because they're still in a high-risk group.
Absolutely. The college-age kids are high risk. We're seeing in other states it's spreading. We saw a little spread in September in Rhode Island, but not much since then. We look at, as I said, how much vaccine we have available. Once we get the young kids and the pregnant women and make sure we have enough for them and they're getting vaccinated, then we will start looking at college-age kids. We'll start looking at healthcare workers, the adults, and everyone else that we've talked about.
You know, one thing I don't want to do in this program is overlook the older population. They're not as significantly at risk as we've talked about. What do you say to the older population, those who are in their late 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s? What do you say to them about this? Because I have read some numbers that shows while they may get infected less often, their morbidity or their mortality rate is significantly higher than some of the younger groups.
All of the precautions that we have been saying still apply to the adult populations and the older populations as well. They are at less risk overall of developing the H1N1, but we want them to be protected. They have not been forgotten, and they are included within the vaccine plan for the state, but we want to make sure the ones who are at risk and getting hospitalized more frequently are vaccinated earlier, and then later on in December and January it will be available for everyone to get vaccinated, including those older populations. But they need to protect themselves, to wash their hands, cover their cough, all of the same things that we have been suggesting, to do those things as well, and to contact their doctor if there's a concern about a severe illness.
But they're going to have to be patient though, right?
Yes.
That's just because that's just the way it is, right? Did you want to say something?
No, I think Dr. Alexander covered it nicely.
A question we have is, how many doses of H1N1 vaccine will my child need? We talked about some need 2 doses, some need just 1. Again, where's the break point there?
The cutoff is at 9 years of age. Children 9 years of age and younger need 2 doses of the H1N1 vaccine. It's preferable that if they received a flu mist, they also receive a flu mist version of the dose as the second dose, but it's okay if they need to alternate. But 9 years of age and under should receive 2 doses. All children and adults 10 years of age and under, it is acceptable to receive 1 dose of the H1N1 vaccine.
Here's a really good question, and not one that I would have thought of. Is this vaccination mandatory for anybody in the state of Rhode Island?
No.
It's not mandatory.
It's not mandatory, it's voluntary. Our goal is to try to get the information out there about its effectiveness and what's going on so people can make their own decision. We strongly recommend that people get the vaccine because it's the safest way to protect you from getting the H1N1 virus, but it's not mandatory.
How much does the vaccination cost?
For the public?
An individual?
For the individual, it costs them nothing. The vaccine and all the supplies have been purchased by the federal government, and most of the healthcare workers have either donated their time or in some of the offices they're billing the insurance for that, but there should really be no cost to the individuals out there. I guess maybe there's a copay. I don't know. Do you charge any of the patients
for most
for
pediatric
copay?
visits, a vaccine-only visit does not charge a copay to the insurance plan or to the patient.
Okay.
Can you explain to the folks, because a lot of what we've talked about tonight here has been the delay in getting these doses, not only to this state, but to the other states. It seems strange to me as a consumer that this H1N1 virus was not a mystery for most of us. Some saw it coming. The pharmaceutical companies, and I don't want to beat up on them, but they had promised that there were going to be, I've forgotten the number of doses, 120 million or something like that, and we're nowhere near that. Why is there such a chasm between what was promised and what's being delivered and the slow rate at which it is being delivered?
Well, the way the vaccine is made is it's made in eggs. And as one of the experts I heard talking recently is, yelling at the eggs to grow the vaccine faster just doesn't work.
Right.
We've tried it. It takes about 6 months to make a influenza virus. So seasonal influenza takes about 6 months. We start growing seasonal influenza virus in about January or February every year. It becomes ready in August and September. We get the whole shipment. We're able to go out there and do the clinics. This outbreak, started in May. We quickly identified the virus and got it to the manufacturers. So June, July, August, September, October, November, that's 6 months. It's the same amount of time. And what's happening is as soon as it comes off the manufacturing line, they're shipping it out. And so most of the vaccine we're going to get is probably not until December. And so literally, as it comes off the manufacturing line, they ship it out and we get it out as fast as we can.
Let me ask you this. Is there any reason why some states are seeing greater incidences of H1N1? I even noticed that some areas of Rhode Island seem to have higher incidences of it. Have you been able to figure out what it is that causes some areas to have more of it than others?
No, there isn't any definitive reason why that we understand. The virus did start in the southern hemisphere of the world and sort of seems to be moving up in general, but in terms of certain pockets that are infected more than others, it's not really clear exactly why, but it's important for everyone to just protect themselves regardless.
In 30 seconds, I need, maybe it's you, Dr. Gifford, to tell us very quickly, what are the things that people need to do around the house to protect themselves from getting the flu?
In my household, we have alcohol hand gel. When you walk in the door, you use it and we try to use it frequently. That's the most important thing. If we get a fever or cough, we try to stay far apart, as Dr. Krausman mentioned before.
The 6 feet rule.
About the 6 feet rule. That's what we try to do at our house.
Great. All right. Listen, let me call it there. This has been very interesting for me. And I want to just thank everybody for being here. You folks have done a great job. We hope it was helpful to everybody. I'd like to thank our guests tonight, Dr. David Gifford, head of the Rhode Island Department of Health, Dr. Robert Krausman, Dr. Nicole Alexander, great job tonight. Your first time doing this, you did a great job. And Dr. Elizabeth Lang, thank you very much for helping us understand what we need to do and how to navigate through this epidemic. We also want to thank the Rhode Island Broadcasters Association and Rhode Island PBS for producing the telecast. There are a host of others we would like to thank, and we will show you their names in just a moment. But a reminder, if you have additional questions, please call the Rhode Island Health Department's H1N1 flu information line. You can do that first thing in the morning, and you can get a lot of great updated information on the Health Department's website. I'm Dave Lehman. Thank you very much for joining us for a very interesting hour. Have a good night.